Well, as the world commemorates the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty today, it brings to the fore issues that border on extreme hunger and hardship that over 133 million Nigerians who are said to be multidimensionally poor, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, are facing. Sadly, over 7 million more, according to the World Bank, are expected to join them this year. Lately, some policies of government seem to have worsened the situation. Externally, the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war have also taken their toll on the country and its over 200 million people. Now, is there a respite in the offing for Nigerians in the face of multidimensional poverty and hunger? This is the direction of our conversation now with Mr. Usman Imana, founder, CEO, Friska Farms Limited. Thank you for joining us and good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, let's begin from 2018 when Nigeria overtook India as the world's poverty capital and held on to that position. Of course, the title held on, the country held on to the title till 2021 before relinquishing it back to the Asian country. Now, it is the second largest host of persons living in extreme poverty. How do we reconcile these statistics, especially looking at the fact that the nation has rich human and capital resources? Mr. Imana?
Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead, please.
Sorry.
All right, looks like some bit of delay in response there, especially coming from the network provider, I suppose. But we would, of course, be looking at all of these issues as the
world... to hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So, for me, personally, I think it's a case of potential. You just said it all. The country has everything, Nigeria has everything that it needs to pull out from that, from that position in terms of poverty capital of the world. In terms of, and what are the things that are needed really? The first two key things are, having resources that you can utilize to help you pull out of poverty, and then having the human capital that can utilize these resources to pull out of poverty. I think that's missing, and why we are not able to reconcile having potential and still being poor is the fact that we've not gotten our strategy right in terms of how we can harness these resources to make how we can harness these resources, make the right decisions that can take us out of poverty. So I'll give you a typical example. Everywhere in the world, we know that, entrepreneurs are the ones that pull countries out of poverty, and they do this by, creating value, providing employment, and just generally, pulling in capital into a nation. Now, as a country, and I'm trying to be careful with my choice of words here so that it doesn't look like, I'm trying to indict anybody per se. I think that if as a country, if we have focused on that sector, right, we focus on the sector in the way that the entrepreneurs are able to make use of the resources that the country has, to create value, create jobs, will gradually start to move out from that demography that's within place. If you look at countries that have moved away from being in the position that we're in, you have Indian tigers, you have India, even China at some point was impoverished. You will see that there was a deliberate strategy that they followed over a period of time. This is not a 2 or 3 year strategy that you just implement and you expect to get results. Countries have spent 30 to 40 years to change their destinies. It could be less, right? So personally, I've not seen that consistent holistic and deliberate plan to get us out of, this position that we found ourselves. And until we get that right, for the lack of choice of better words to say, we'll just continue to run around in circles.
Sadly. Well, the World Poverty Clock estimates the number of its extremely poor at 71 million. That's the extremely poor people in Nigeria. And using the UN threshold of $1.09 per day, Statista says 12% of the global population in extreme poverty lives in Nigeria. 12% in the whole world lives in Nigeria. That's in this year, 2023. How bad is the situation? Looking at the fact that you just need about $2 a day to qualify. If you're not able to, afford $2 a day, you qualify for this position.
Take that again.
Looking at all of these indices, 12% of the global population in extreme poverty lives in Nigeria. And also they are talking about the fact that the average Nigerian, those are within this range, are people who cannot afford $1.9 a day for their, upkeep. So I was asking you how bad the situation is in your own estimation, looking at all of these statistics. Mr. Imana, can you hear me?
I think I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Did you get the question?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. That you just said that the average. That's $1.9 per day is what qualifies one to be in that poverty basket. And how bad do we think the situation is? I think that it is worse than what we think it is. And poverty, abject poverty and mass poverty even shapes the way. Shapes the behavior of a nation. Simple example: go on social media and see what people are fixated on.